Hello, hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Not bad, just chilling in a little garden patio in Santa Barbara. I took a road trip down. It's really pretty here. There's like a little fire pit and stuff. I'm just sitting outside.
Nice.
Where are you guys?
Just chilling at home. Last day before break-ins.
Oh, I
at home.
know. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm not ready to go back to San Francisco. It's so cold.
Yeah, it is cold here.
How was your Thanksgivings?
Good. We went to like one of my cousin's houses, and then my mom's into Black Friday shopping, so we left at like 6 and we're at like Walmart from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. the next day. It was insane.
Black Friday is like the worst day to go shopping.
Oh,
You have to wait in line to get in the store, and then you gotta wait in line to buy some.
man, just do it online.
Yeah.
It's not that bad here. It's like you can sit in the store beforehand, and then the employees will like set up the night before, because we live like a mile from Walmart. So it's like my mom went up there early and she was like, okay, I know everything is. Somebody stand here. Somebody stand here.
Wow. Got all planned out.
So funny. Where do you live?
I live in Charlottesville.
Charlottesville, Virginia?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you're not far from home.
Well, I'm like 2 hours away. UVA is in Charlottesville. Virginia Tech's in Blacksburg.
Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Hey, Miguel. Hey, Shashank. You're
Hey,
about to say this. We're just sharing our Thanksgiving stories. Anything interesting on you guys' end?
no, it was regular Thanksgiving.
Nope. Just
Did anyone not eat too much? Okay.
But we try not to. We had a hot pot at home. So
Oh, I love hot pot.
yeah. We try to finish it all, but when that got all too full, don't want to leave any leftovers, so try to finish
Yeah.
everything.
There's some restaurants where it's like all you can eat, but then afterwards they'll like charge you for food that you didn't eat. They're like, oh. It's like so awkward because after you're done eating, some places will like weigh the food left over, and then they'll charge. It's just weird. Let's see. We need 4 volunteers to share a quote. If you'd like, you can put it in the chat so I know who to call on you, so it's not me awkwardly just calling people out. So if you haven't already, or if you forgot to bring your quote, you can look one up now. You have about 60 seconds.
Yeah, I put one up. You guys read that before?
Sorry, I should not laugh that hard. That was really funny. You and George both like humor. That's good.
Yeah, before when I use Linux, I always go back to Windows though, because that's where all the gaming is at.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, basically only use S to use Windows also. Also the fact it doesn't work nicely on my laptop. Well, Linux doesn't.
All right, it's 1 o'clock. Sorry guys, we're gonna get started. Welcome everybody. If you could turn on your videos so we can see your lovely faces, that would be awesome. So the schedule for today, we have, today will be Miguel and George leading the session. Quickly before we start, I'm just gonna leave some space open for people to share their quotes. We have one quote in the chat right now. So maybe Vincent, do you wanna read it and explain why you picked this one? And then if we could have 3 other volunteers, and we'll get started. Go ahead, Vincent. Kick us off.
All right, the quote is, a computer is like air conditioning. It becomes useless when you open Windows. And that's by Linus Torvalds, the creator of the kernel for Linux. And the reason I chose that because it's funny, because it is true. Because the reason why I chose that, it shows the hate between Linux and Windows. Because a lot of Linux users like, oh, Windows, you use Windows and stuff like that, because they see Windows as people as beginners or like not so skilled in computers, where all the hackers and like the more professionals use Linux. And Linux is more stable overall. Because I remember back then, you know, you had the blue screen of death and all that. It's like, you're a Windows user. I was like, yeah. But you try Linux back then, it takes like lots of time on it. We got to configure everything and maintain all the packages and recompile everything. Yeah. So you guys don't use Linux, you should start using it only and get rid of Windows.
Thank you for sharing. Okay, who else we got? Also, guys, please put your quotes in the Facebook group. So if people miss out on them, they can at least still hear what you guys have shared. Come on, 3 more volunteers. Are you guys gonna make me start picking people? That's not very fun. Okay. All right, I'm gonna start picking people. So what I'll do is I'll ask you guys to share maybe at the end of the session so that you can have time to look it up. I'm actually not gonna pick. I'm gonna give the opportunity for 3 people to find a quote and share it before the end of the session. But right now, and Miguel can kick us off when we come back. But for now, let's go through the topic overview. We're gonna put you again in breakout groups, and then I'm going to share a small announcement. We have something called a fireside chat coming up with a really super awesome engineer. I will share more information with you guys at the end when we all get back together. And there will also be a admin topic covered again. And then that'll be the end. Sorry, there's a train in the background. But so maybe George and Miguel, could you guys maybe, I don't know, either of you guys can share your screens and do the topic overview and start us off.
Give me 1 second. Let me just prepare. George, if you can hear me, I'll end off on a simple cipher, and then you can continue from there. Okay, so happy holidays, everyone. We're on week 5, which is mostly encryption and cryptography. So almost everything you do on like the internet is encrypted. It uses very like complicated like cryptography algorithms, which use like a lot of math and computer science to like figure out how can we take like this message and make it so that no one else but the intended users can see this message. And this is basically like what cryptography is and what we try to do with it. So like if you try to buy something like on the internet, or say you are using like a password or anything like that, most of the time, most likely it's going to be encrypted, or most definitely it's going to be encrypted. So if we look at the slides, it's very easy. You have a plain text, which is the message that you want to send to the other person. And then you go through, say, an encryption algorithm, which turns it into a bunch.
Hey, Miguel, can you share your screen?
Oh, yeah, sure. Let me see if I can do that. Here we go. There we go. See if I can make this full screen. If anybody knows how to do that, you can tell me and I will make this full.
Present on the top right. Present. On the right side. The right.
Here we go. Cool. So yeah, so once you encrypt this plain text, you get back a ciphertext, which is indistinguishable or should be indistinguishable to anyone except you and the actual person who you are sending said message to. And then you run a decryption algorithm, and then it gives you the exact message back. One of the old like ciphers that was used back in very old times is called a Caesar cipher or a simple cipher, a shift cipher. With this cipher, it would just shift the word, shift the alphabet a certain amount of spots over, and it'll give you a completely different, I guess, alphabet that you can use. And by to encrypt, you just use, say, a number like 13, and you'd shift the alphabet 13 places over. So now, say, an A becomes an N, a B becomes an O, a C becomes a P, and then everything just like that. So that, say, this message right here, hello, when it's encrypted, becomes this weird word that no one really knows what it is, right? Unless you know what a Caesar cipher is. Another type of cipher that we have is a substitution cipher, similar to a Caesar cipher, except you randomly choose, I guess, like the key. I mean the actual like translation. So instead of like shifting it over, you have A equals U, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's been shifted, but it could have randomly been chosen that A translates to U. And then after that, you just create a mess. That's how you would like encrypt and decrypt. And then George will take over the next slide, which has to deal with like the way we like encrypt data over over the internet as of very, very recently.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, you're a little quiet.
Trying to. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think we can all hear you, but just try to talk loud.
Okay. I guess I'm gonna use the slides. Thought he was gonna be ending differently. Symmetric.
Do you want to use your screen, or do you want to just keep using mine?
I was gonna use yours unless somebody can tell me how to go full.
No, I got it. Okay.
So with the symmetric key algorithm, it basically uses just one key for opening and closing, and the famous algorithms are the data encryption standard algorithm, the advanced encryption standard, and the blowfish. I know the blowfish is 1 pro of the blowfish algorithm. It's relies on slow encryption, and what that means, the encryption process is slower, which is better for, which is, I guess, a little bit better than the DES and the AES algorithm. Just gonna go to the next slide.
Do you need me to switch to the next slide? I could barely hear you.
Yeah, sorry. I said, yeah, switch to the next slide.
All right, cool.
As far as the symmetric key algorithm, as you can see, the Pro is very fast. Con, you need to send the key with the message. And in regards to this week, we'll be using PHP's OpenSSL function to practice encryption and decryption. With the public key cryptography, basically, like, I would share a public key so that anyone can send me a secret message, and only I, with the priority key, would be able to decrypt my message. 1 pro of the public key cryptographies, information can be communicated over an open network, and pre-arrangement or a secret channel does not need is not needed for the sender to convey the key for the decryption. I mean, I guess long story short, you don't need a key for this algorithm. This is ideal for use on the internet, in contrast to the symmetric key algorithm, which suffers from the fact that key distribution. Oftentimes, public keys are used to share a password key, and symmetric encryption is used to communicate. Go to the next slide. This is on cryptographic hash algorithms. It's known as a one-way algorithm, which are basically used when data does not need to be decrypted. And some of the famous algorithms are the CRC32, which is a cyclic redundancy check, which basically returns a 32-bit integer hash, and the MD5, which is another popular hash algorithm, and it returns a 128-bit hexadecimal. And in regards to the slide itself, in regards to checksums are after you hash whatever message you're trying to send, that end result is actually the checksum. You can go to the next one. This is just kind of like ironing out the fact that, well, this slide is ironing out the fact that users, that it's pretty common that when you have a password, you kind of use it for like your Facebook, your MySpace, if you still have MySpace, and other things that you use to store your passwords in. And it's basically saying for like your database, it's always imperative to hash everything, and don't store the actual password, to store the hash version of it, just so that hackers can't just gain access to your password and then probably log into all your stuff. I think that's the last slide. I don't know what it says there.
And just to add like a little bit about like cryptographic hash functions. So like in week 2, where we were doing like SQL injections, if a hacker is able to like do an SQL injection on like your web application, and then it reveals all the passwords, you generally want them to be hashed, so that if they look at those passwords, they still don't know exactly what the password is.
And I guess the last endpoint, I don't think I mentioned it, in regards to when you're like downloading a file, normally the checksum, which is what you expect to actually get from the actual download, is normally attached to your download. And what that means is, like, let's say you're downloading, I don't know, a text file. After it goes through the function, you're supposed to get a specific hash. And when I use the same function, I can use that to make sure that the file that I got is not corrupted. It should be the same as the one you sent me.
Yeah, and as far as I know, those were the end of the slides. Does anybody have questions, any input? All right. I'm not sure who to give this off to now.
Okay, awesome. I can take it from here. I'm just making your breakout rooms now, so I'm going to move you guys into your rooms shortly. Just give me 1 second. We're going to have, this time, groups of 2. One group will have 3 people in it. If I'm putting you in a group that you've been with that person before, let me know, because ideally I would like you guys to be interacting with different people throughout these exercises. Just a quick note, at the beginning of next session, next session we have a fireside chat, but the session after, we're going to be talking about what makes a good facilitator. So we talked about in the beginning with Sasha, like what makes it, like the facilitator is not the same thing as a teacher, right? You're not necessarily the expert in the room where students are kind of looking up to for all their information. But what you are in charge of is creating a really great student experience and learning environment. And I want us to continue to be sharing with each other what we think will help us achieve that. These slides that you guys are seeing are actually slides that were put together by students in the past, by student TPMs. These slides are really for you guys to have ownership over. So my hope is that as we work through these different topics, you'll be able to actually edit these slides as you see fit, adding content, graphics, cartoons, whatever you guys would want to make it more engaging. These are slides that you can actually use with your students. So imagine first day of class, you're going to be up there in front of 25 to 30 eager young students. How would you like to present this content in the most engaging way possible? I'm not saying that what's been presented so far is not engaging. I personally have ran, I don't know, at least I think about 1,000 students through different workshops and through different like team building activities. The facilitator really can make or break an experience, as I'm sure you guys know and have seen. So I'm hoping we can all continue to be feedback loops for each other and helping improve the content, the delivery, the style. All right, so the task in your rooms is to try to complete week lab 5, week 5 lab, and week 5 CTF. We will stay in our rooms till about 2:45, and then I'm gonna bring you guys all back to do a debrief and to talk about what's happening next week. So I will be jumping room to room, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.
Solutions page. So if anyone wants to update that one, that's the only one that's not complete. That'll be great.
Does everyone have access to the solutions page?
They should. I shared a link so that if you, as long as you have the link, you should be able to see it. So yes.
Okay, great. I'm not going to keep you much longer. Thank you so much, by the way, for coming on your Thanksgiving weekend. This is really awesome to see your guys' dedication. I want to let you know, I was going through the different breakout rooms, and based on your guys' presentation, at the end of the training, I'm going to be giving everyone feedback on facilitation, on kind of just not necessarily how you work with other people, but the idea is any kind of feedback that I think might be helpful in you being a facilitator for your group session. Some of you guys, I think, have more experience and are more comfortable. I think all of us can improve, myself included. So I'll just be sharing that at the end of the training, just so you guys know. I'm going to share my screen now. And I'm going to share with you guys a really cool event coming up. Sorry. Can everyone see my screen? Can everyone see, or let me know if you can't see my screen. Okay, so we are organizing a fireside chat, and what that is we're gonna have a pretend fire in the background, but each fireside chat, we're gonna get one industry professional or expert to come and just talk to you guys. It's super intimate. It's just gonna be with the TPM training group from iOS and cybersecurity, so you'll be able to meet the other iOS TPMs. And we have Jane Chung joining us. She works at Coinbase right now. She's a UPenn alumni, my alma mater. She works, so their company is basically a security company, even though it seems like it's like a a coin, like a currency company, their actual primary business is security. So they're like top security. And what they do kind of on the side, I guess, effectively is currency exchange. And so she works on their Android and iOS app. She's a mobile developer, but would love to meet you guys, field any questions you guys have. I'm going to be posting this in the Facebook group and on email. And I want you guys to share any questions you have for her. I'm going to send them to her ahead of time so she kind of knows what you guys are interested in. You can post them on Facebook, or I'll give you a link to fill out a form. So that's happening next week, next Saturday at 12:45 p.m. So I need everyone to log on about 15 minutes early. You can stay on, and we'll go till about 1:15 p.m. So it'll be half an hour. The first 10 minutes will be a facilitated conversation between Jane and I, and then the rest we'll just open it up to Q&A. She's super sweet, and she's worked with the professional side a lot, .com. So I'm really excited about that. Any questions about that? Okay, since it's so louder. Since it's Thanksgiving, I'm going to let everyone go early. Next week, I'd love to hear from you guys. Any quotes you'd like to share. If you guys want, I can pick people and ask them to share, but I prefer that you guys share. The idea is that these quotes kind of help us to get to know each other in a different way. So are there any last questions? Okay, wonderful. Have a great weekend, guys, and I'll see you next week. Send me any questions you have for Jane. She's really excited to meet you. I'll see you guys. Bye.
Are you done? That was it?
Oh wait, I have a code path related question for I lost for some reason. I don't have the TPM training page on my code path course portal. It's like the regular, there's no additional. I see the student page. Is that the page we're supposed to see?
Oh, yeah. Because right now,
Okay.
technically, you guys are students. Yeah, at the start of next semester, you'll be able to see the admin page.
Okay, just making sure.
Okay, great.
And then one last question for tech. We haven't been in school all week, so I emailed our professor, and we kind of have a communications issue with our CS department, which I think Anisha knows about. They went through the same issue. Is it okay if we don't get back to you guys with the course time until next week?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But everyone else, yeah, I think we're pretty close with the course times for everyone else. And we have to start student marketing this week. So we have to start getting a lot more student signups. So I'll be reaching out to you guys for that.
Thank you.
George and Miguel, great session. Thank you so much for leading that.
You are welcome.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Later.
Bye.
Right now.
Is it? Our floor is dirty.